following CBS 19 weather special is sponsored by Stonewater Roofing.
A very Arctic-like night out there with snow coming down at about an inch an hour snowfall rates.
Road conditions are very, very dangerous.
With our record-breaking cold, many lakes have frozen over.
Cities in East Texas are covered in that blanket of ice.
The White House has issued a federal emergency declaration for Texas.
Millions of Texans remain without heat and power 2 full days after the storm began.
Many of us are breaking records that were set back in the 1800s.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our CBS 19 weather special, Frozen Over, a look back at the winter storm. Of course, we're talking about the memorable winter storm of February 2021. We are just 3 weeks away from the anniversary of that storm.
Yeah, and that storm caused a lot of trauma last year as millions had to go without power for days.
Over the next half hour, we're going to give you several tips, including generator safety, an update on ERCOT's guidelines, as well as a look ahead at this winter's forecast.
But first, we're going to start with a look back at last year's winter storm.
Last year's devastating winter storm brought all-time record cold temperatures to East Texas, including right here in Tyler, where the all-time record low of 6 degrees below zero was set. Many organizations were devastated, including the East Texas Crisis Center. I spoke with Lena Peacock and Jeremy Flowers about what the East Texas Crisis Center had to do to serve East Texans after the storm and how far they've come since the damage they sustained.
Well, we lost electricity and the pipes started bursting, and it just has devastated some of our offices and parts of our emergency shelter.
Many lives and organizations were forever changed by last year's winter storm, including the East Texas Crisis Center. Flooded hallways, collapsed ceilings, and damaged documents caused distress and uncertainty when employees first returned to see what was left behind.
You know, I've been here for going on 16 years, so you know, this is like home to us. To come in and see this place damaged and destroyed and think about, you know, having to rebuild and start over again and be displaced was a little discouraging, and it was really disheartening knowing that the impact it had on the residents.
It was, well, there was a lot of damage up in the ceilings, like 100 pipes, there were hairline cracks or actually had burst. And so there was already a lot of damage to the ceiling. And there's a lot of insulation throughout this area, which we had to get that cleaned up.
Even when faced with overwhelming damage to their facility, employees of the East Texas Crisis Center knew they had to stay focused so they could continue to provide the services that thousands of East Texans needed.
We had mattresses stacked up as high as we could get them because we had to take everything out of all the bedrooms, I mean, all the offices, everything. And we probably have 30 offices at this facility. So
You had everything in here?
We had everything that survived damage, that was not damaged, we moved down here.
Even though repairs on the facility continue to this day, everyone at the Crisis Center has remained focused and committed to those who need them most.
Just to see the unity of the employees at the East Texas Crisis Center come together with a sense of urgency, knowing that we have a job to do and a service to provide to the community, and we never lost sight of that.
Could a winter storm as devastating and impactful as last year's happen again? Here's Chief Meteorologist Brett Anthony with an outlook for the rest of this winter.
February 2021, one for the record books in East Texas.
Brought us an anomalous event, an extreme event, the February Arctic outbreak, which brought record cold and snow to the region.
The burning question, will it happen again? That's impossible to say, but we can ask this question, can it happen again? And the answer is yes. Here's why. Global weather patterns are at work this winter. La Nina, Arctic oscillation, North Atlantic oscillation. And we know the weather pattern is cycling, and there's lots of cold air in Canada. The only question is, will it reach East Texas? All right, La Nina is in place. Similar weather pattern to last year. So far, we've seen dry and warm conditions. conditions. Will that continue? Well, it continues as long as the Arctic Oscillation remains positive. What's the Arctic Oscillation? It's a belt of winds about 55 degrees north latitude that hold the cold air up in Canada. But if strong high pressure develops near Greenland, it forces the jet stream to buckle. We see more storms into the middle part of the country, and colder air is allowed to surge southward. We say that's when the Arctic Oscillation is negative. We know the weather pattern is cycling. We've seen 2 storms in October, 1 in November, that have been repeating. Each one of these storms, as we move through February and March, have the possibility to create a winter storm or a severe weather setup. So we've answered that question. Yes, it could happen again. But what type of weather pattern needs to set up for us to see a repeat of the Arctic outbreak in February?
Yeah, so we need access to that cold Arctic Canadian air. So there's 2 features that are global features, the Arctic Oscillation, the North Atlantic Oscillation. Those need to be in a negative phase to help give us access to that colder air. But then at the local weather pattern scale, we need high pressure to be up well off to our northwest, helping to reinforce a flow, a northerly flow, bringing that colder air southward into the Arklatex region, into East Texas.
And with the weather pattern already producing severe weather setups during the fall and winter months, we can't let our guard down when it comes to severe weather.
But if you look at the years that we have La Nina on average, those average more tornadoes than any other pattern. So we can't let our guard down through the winter season. We still can get tornado outbreaks and deadly tornado outbreaks through the winter.
So our winter forecast recap looks like this: warmer than average temperatures and drier than normal when it comes to rain, sleet, and snow. We'll have short bouts of cold air and up to 3 snow or ice setups, near average rain and snow and ice, and 1 to 3 severe weather setups between now and March 1st.
Have they appropriately set heat tracing in place so that pipes don't freeze up?
Those who have not been proactive will be penalized swiftly and heavily.